We're going to move on to a V pattern. This shirt's a V with a crumpled front, and the thing you want to notice about the crumpling on this is that it's fairly symmetrical. The way it's crumpled, the way it's folded, produces the symmetry in the design, and you never know exactly what you're going to get. So our goal here is to be as close to the center when we fold it as possible so that we get a mirror image on the crumple. And I don't know if you can see my shirt, but it came out kind of like a giraffe's head on here. It's got a pattern on there. So that's how you get the faces. And most of the time when you get a shirt that's got that, it's a happy accident. So that's what we're going for on these, is happy accidents. Okay. So what we want to do is have the fronts facing. So we flatten the shirt as much as possible on the table, fold it over onto itself with the fronts facing, and then we have a line that runs from the V to the center of the sleeve, from the lower end of the shirt to the center of the sleeve. And that's just a simple accordion fold. So move like this, so we get our lines extending from the bottom of the shirt to the middle of the sleeve. And then on this, you want your rubber bands fairly tight. So I like to double them before I slide. The tighter your bands, the more white you're going to have in your shirt, because it holds the moisture in there more tightly. Okay, now to get the crumple pattern, work above your rubber band and just do a random scrunching of the shirt like that. And then rubber band it tight, as tight as you can get it. The more white, the tighter it is, the more white, the more defined your crumple pattern is going to be. And this is, again, rainbow colors. So moving on to a white shirt. So again, working on the V pattern, front sides together, because we want symmetry. And we're going to draw an imaginary line from the lower edge of the shirt, the lower end of the shirt, up through the middle of the sleeve. And then we start our crumple pattern, or our accordion fold, on that line. When you're making the accordion fold, you'll notice that I don't do a straight fold like this. I don't have each one coming together. I kind of bring one up, bring the other up. That gives us a little bit of variation, so it's not just horizontal lines coming through. Okay, so pull that straight. you notice I'm leaving the tail loose because I want the bottom of the shirt to be a more solid color, and I want the top to have a crumple pattern. So here's this portion right here going up to the neck is the center. That's where you want to really concentrate your scrunching efforts, because that's what's going to give you the a design. All right. And the rubber band placement in no way affects the design. I've seen people who are trying to get their rubber bands evenly spaced. It has no bearing on where your colors go, what the design looks like. All it does is hold the fabric together. So if we're going to do a shirt that's identical to the one you saw, I'm going to start on the top with the orange. And again, you want to hold your dye bottles upside down with the tip pointed toward the fabric. And I'm barely squeezing, but I did make the holes a little bit bigger on my bottles so that I get the flow that I want. The dyes are mixed according to the directions. It's 2 teaspoons per 8 ounces of water. For the red, orange, and yellow, the turquoise gets a little bit more dye. If done by weight, it's probably a teaspoon more per 8 ounce bottle. I'm using 16, so the numbers are doubled. And I'm doing rainbow order on here, so it's the top crumple is orange, but red, orange, yellow, the turquoise will mix with the yellow to make my green, blue, and then the bottom of the shirt is purple, violet. And I want to put a little bit more there because I want a fairly solid color on the bottom of the shirt. I'm going to turn the shirt to do the back side. When you flip your shirts, watch where the colors were, watch where the dye is, because you don't want to end up moving the yellow into the purple or into the red. It'll mess up your colors. It'll muddy your colors. I keep a bucket of water and a sponge so I can clean my hands in between. That way I can touch the fabric and not worry about having dye on my hands. Again, just enough to color it. You don't want it to get too wet. and that's the V out to the middle of the shoulder with a crumple in the front.